So today we're going to talk about how to solve quadratic equations by graphing. And again, you learned this in chapter 9, so this is going to be super easy for you. If you have a quadratic equation in standard form, you have to set it equal to what to solve? Zero. So you're going to have ax squared plus bx plus c. You must set it equal to 0. Now, chapter 9 was all about solving it by factoring. And then you take each factor and set it equal to 0. But I taught you how to go ahead and put it in your calculator. Y'all remember, yes? So all you do is put this side in y1 and this side in y2. And what are you looking for? Where the parabola does what? Intersects. The what? The x-axis. So basically, if you have a graph and your parabola looks like this, then those two spots, those are your answers. Those are your solutions. What else are those called? Zeros. They're called solutions, zeros, and x-intercepts. All right, so it says to solve quadratic equations when they have two solutions. So today our stuff should have two solutions. But the first thing you have to do is put it in standard form and set it equal to 0. So the first thing we would need to do is deal with this equation. So I would have x squared minus 2x, but I need to bring this 3 to the left by subtraction. So it would be minus 3 equals 0. Everybody good? The next thing it wants us to do is find the axis of symmetry. To find the axis of symmetry, we learned this yesterday. You're simply going to use the formula that's on your star chart, negative b over 2a. So if I did negative b, where's b? Right here. Is it already a negative? So a negative makes a, so it'd be 2 over 2 times a. What is a? So 2 times 1 is, which is just 1. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 1. It says find the minimum or maximum. Guys, when it asks for a minimum or maximum, I know some of you last night on the assignment just put the y value, but it's the minimum or maximum is the vertex. So it is that whole coordinate. So to find the vertex, you need a coordinate. The x value is 1. Why? Because the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. So all we have to do is plug 1 into our equation. So 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. So we put that in our calculator. And what's the y value? Negative 4. So if I know that the vertex is at 1, negative 4, okay, and I know that the first term is positive, what does that mean about this parabola? It's going to open. It's going to open up. It's going to look like this. If I ask for the range, since it's going up, it's going to be y is greater than or equal to, what is the lowest point? 1, negative 4. So it's going to be y is greater than or equal to negative 4. Because you're looking at, remember, range is the y. So you're looking at, that's the lowest y that it will have. Does that make sense? So we said it opens up. It wants you to find the x-intercepts, the zeros, the roots, and the solutions. Those all mean the same thing. So what is the new word you haven't seen before? Roots. So they could say, what are the roots? They could say, what are the zeros? It all means the solution, the x-intercept. So to do that, you can simply graph. You can graph by hand or you can use your calculator. This wants us to graph it by hand. So let's go get some coordinates here. We know we want our vertex, right? So it's going to go in the middle. So 1's going to go right here with negative 4. And then I'll put the rest in my calculator. So I have x squared minus 2x minus 3. I don't even need to put in the 0 because I'm just getting some coordinates right now. So I need 1, I need 0, -3, and then -1, 0. And then I need 2, -3, and 3, 0. Notice that it becomes symmetrical at that vertex. So we're going to go graph it, and we're going to find the zeros. Okay? There's my graph. Do you see the answers? Yes? This is a solution, and this is a solution. These are called solutions, x-intercepts, zeros, and roots. They all mean the same thing. Okay, so what are the answers? -1, 0, and 3, 0. Questions? We'll do one more, and then you'll get your assignment. Could I have found the answer in my calculator? All right. We'll talk about that on this one. All right, is this one set up to solve? What do I have to do? Put it in standard form, set it equal to 0. So I have x squared plus 4x. How would I get this 5 to the left? So -5 equals 0. All right, I am going to put it in my y equals button because it's asking us to graph it. So I have x squared plus 4x minus 5. And then I am going to go to my table. I'm going to look for where it mirrors, which it looks like it's in the negatives. I'll zoom in so y'all can see. Do y'all see right here at the -9, it starts to mirror on both sides. Do y'all see that? That is my what then? That's my vertex. So -2, -9 is going to go in the middle of my table. And if I couldn't see that, I would find it by solving with the axis of symmetry formula. Make sense? All right, so -2, -9 are going to go here. And then I'll fill this in with -3, -4, -1, and 0. -2, -9, thank you. And then I'll graph. Ooh. Now, since you're looking for the zeros, you could just go through your calculator and find them. Like here's -5, 0, and 1, 0. You don't want to like freehand it and then you don't know where it's going through, which is kind of what I did to begin with. All right, so here are our solutions. These are our answers. So the solutions are at -5, 0, and at 1, 0. The vertex was at -2, -9. The axis of symmetry was at x equals what? What's the axis of symmetry at? -2. What, does it have a minimum or a maximum? It has a minimum. And what is the range? Yep, y is greater than or equal to negative 9. What's the domain? All real numbers. Now, if you can't see the intercepts, right? Like, let's just say they're decimals. That's when you go to y equals and you put in your y1 here and you put your y2 as 0 and you tell the calculator, hey, I can't see them, I need your help. So you go to second trace, option 5, and the calculator will graph it for you. Now you have to arrow over like we did in chapter 9. So with my little cursor, and then it's going to tell me once I hit enter 3 times, it says, hey, that intersection is at 1, 0. Now, we could clearly see it because it was an integer. But if you can't, like what if it was at a third and we just don't know? You see what I'm saying? That's when this comes in handy if you don't want to have to go do all that factoring. So, but I would have to do it twice. So I'd have to go over second trace, option 5. I'd have to move my cursor to this one and say, hey, I need this intersection. And it was at negative 5, 0. I just cleared it off. Okay, questions? I will pass out the assignment and give. All right, on the assignment on 1 through 6, it says determine whether the given solution is a solution. So they're asking for number 1, is 0 and 3. Notice it's not a coordinate. It's not 0, 3. It's 0, semicolon 3. They're saying are 0 and 3 solutions to that. Where could I check this at? In my calculator. So I could just go to y equals. I could type in x squared minus 2x plus 15. If I go to graph, I'm just looking, is it crossing through the 0 and the 3? Look at it. No, there's no solution to this one at all. So my answer to number 1 is no. So that's how you're going to do those. Okay, 7 through 12 says use the graph to find the solutions. There's no math involved. You're just going to go look to see where it's touching the x-axis. So look at number 7. How many answers are there going to be? Just one. It's touching right here. Where at? Negative 4. You don't have to list it as a coordinate. You can just list it. Okay, go to 13. It says solve the equation by graphing. So I'm going to grade your graph, and then I'm going to grade that you wrote down the solutions. Make sense? Almost all of them but one have 2 answers. So all of these will have 2 answers, but one of them will only have 1 because it's only going to touch 1 time. If you question yourself, put it in your calculator and look for those intersects, okay? Turn the page. Um, 18. That's the same thing. Y'all don't have to do those. I'm trying to shorten it because last night's was so long. But you do have to do 25 and 26. So I will help y'all get those set up. Okay? All right, it says, number 25. A movie stunt double jumps from the top of a building 50 feet above the ground onto a pad on the ground below. The stunt double jumps with an initial vertical velocity. Do y'all remember learning this a few weeks ago? Before spring break? Of 10 feet per second. Write and graph a function that models the height of the stunt double t seconds after she jumps. So remember the vertical velocity model was h equals negative 16 t squared plus vt plus s, where h is the height, v is feet per second, and the s is the starting point. So we're going to write an equation based off the numbers that they gave us. They gave us the number 50. Where do y'all think 50 falls? It says a movie stunt double jumps from the top of a building 50 feet above the ground. Where do you think that's going to be? That's their starting point. So that 50 is going to go here. And really all we need to do is fill in this V, the feet per second. It says the stunt double jumps with an initial vertical velocity of 10 feet per second. So that's going to be the V. Make sense? So my equation is negative 16 t squared plus 10 t plus 50. The question says, so you're going to graph this. Is this all four quadrants? This is only what? Quadrant 1. Why? Because we're talking about somebody jumping off of a building that when they hit the ground, where are they at? 0. You can't go negative. Make sense? So if you graph it on your calculator, it's going to show you all four quadrants. But here we're only talking about quadrant 1. It says, how long does it take the stunt double to reach the... So you're looking for, so she's going to start here at 50, right? And she's going to jump and it's going to curve down. I don't know where it's going to go, but wherever she goes, let's say it lands here, then that's your answer. It took her 1.5 seconds. If it lands here, it took her 2 seconds. Does that make sense? Your calculator will do the work for you. Are y'all good? All right, y'all want me to help y'all set up 26? Same formula. It says you throw a wad of paper towards a wastebasket. So it's like I take something and I throw it like I'm throwing a basketball. Okay? The height is about 1.3 feet above the ground with an initial vertical velocity of 3 feet per second. Write and graph a function. All right, who thinks they can write it for me? So same formula right here. Say it loud, negative 16 t squared. What is the V? Feet per second. Plus 3t plus 1.3. So you'll graph it. Okay, it's only quadrant 1. You already know it's going to start up here at 1.3, which is going to be right there. But the rest of it you'll have to get from your calculator. So B says, if you miss the wastebasket and the paper hits the floor, so we're looking for when it hits at 0, how long does it take for it to hit the floor? So that's where you're looking at when it touches 0. And then C says, if the ball of paper hits the rim of the wastebasket 1/2 foot above the ground, how long was the ball in the air? So all you're going to do is change the formula. And instead of the 1.3, we're going to change it to what? What does it want us to change it to? 1.5. Not 1.5, 0.5. So you're looking for this one when it would hit 0. So basically you're just looking for the x-intercepts for each equation, but only the positive answer. Okay? All right, get started.